Eagle 95.1, WUPN, Paradise, Sault Ste. Marie.
It's time for The Game. Eagle 95.1 proudly brings you The Game, the Twin Sault's only regional and national sports show. For the next hour, we'll get an in-depth look at sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region and hear from coaches and players involved in The Game. Now, let's join Scott Nason at the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street in downtown Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan for tonight's broadcast of The Game on Eagle 95.1.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it. All about control. And if you can take it, it's all about your day. And if you can play it, it's all about pain. And who's gonna make it?
Greetings and salutations and welcome to The Game on Eagle 95.1, online at eagleradio951.com and podcast at thegamesportshow.com. As the man said, my name is Scott Nason, broadcasting from the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street on this Monday night, March 11th, 2019. And it's been a while since we've been on the radio. As a matter of fact, we haven't had a show since late January. I think many people thought maybe we got preempted. We did not. We have had some travel concerns as far as being out of town for a few weeks. We've, of course, covered a lot of playoff games. And then I got under the weather last week. But we are back at the Wicked Sister. Very happy to be here. And come on down and join us for the live broadcast. We're on the radio from 6 to 7. We do a full 2-hour show from 6 to 8 o'clock. And we are talking lots of sports, including Laker hockey with one of their assistant coaches. Coming up at 6:30, we'll also talk to Butch Davis from Butch on Sports. He'll join us around 6:45. And then the second hour, the online hour, we'll be talking with Butch, hopefully E.J. Russell, hopefully Dave McKegg. But no hope here. We already have her. She's live at the Wicked Sister. Katie Wollan joining us. Of course, you can hear Katie on Eagle 95.1 doing Brimley Bay's basketball, along with many things. Katie, nice to see you here at the Wicked Sister.
Great intro as always, Scott. That was a good one. Did you just pull that out of nowhere? Did you plan it?
I've had a long time to plan it.
Yeah,
it's been a while
that's
since
true.
we've been here. We've done a few online shows as well, but we left here in February due to a couple weeks out of town for me. And then, of course, we had Soo Blue Devil hockey. We had Brimley Bay's basketball. And then a little bit of the whatever is going around here. I caught that badly. But we're happy to talk sports here.
Oh, yes.
Katie, we got a lot to cover here tonight.
I'm excited. I'm excited what you have to throw at me for questions.
Well, let's start with high school basketball,
Of
Katie,
course.
as you took part in a lot of these broadcasts over the past couple weeks. And let's start with the boys. No EUP teams are still alive in the MHSAA boys basketball playoffs as the quarterfinals will start tomorrow night. We'll go through some of the matchups here coming up. But let's start with the Brimley Bays. Now,
Of course,
the Bays 23-0. Going into the regional semifinal last Tuesday, one that you covered down in St. Ignace, taking on a Pellston team that was highly ranked. We knew that Pellston was good. We didn't know how good they were. Well, I guess we found out last week how good the Pellston Hornets are, as the Brimley Bays run to the Breslin Center was cut short last Tuesday as they fell to Pellston by the score of 75-60. In the regional semifinal in Division 4, as the Bays end their season at 23-1. Marcus Harris played his final game for the Brimley Bays. He had 13 points. Hunter Lippanen and Zach Gross added 11. As the Bays look like, Katie, and I want your thoughts on that game. The first half, a little bit of a slugfest. We kind of saw that in a couple of their district matchups as well. First half maybe didn't get off to the best start, and then the second half happened, and it was Tanner Byard for the Pellston Hornets, 34 points.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. And we'll talk more about him in the Cedarville game. But, was it just too much Pellston or just Brimley off, or was it a combination of both?
I definitely think it's a combination of both. And the reason why I'm going to tell you, yes, I'm going to be a little biased because, we have been broadcasting Brimley sports all season long. But the good thing about that is we know, everything wrong with what they do and everything great with what they do. And the Brimley Bays, just like you said, sluggish to the start, but also the Pellston Hornets. And it was neck and neck that first half, but it was just a matter of that third quarter. There was a 3-minute stretch that Pellston's crowd was just so amazing, full of energy, just with a probably 6-point, 8-point run. And from there on, they just took it to the Bays, and the Brimley Bays had no hope. They totally got frustrated, and they just kind of, that's just...
Did they depend too much on the 3-point shot in that game? And that's the way it sounded. It sounded,
end.
Yeah, it sounded like, and obviously when you get down the second half, but you try to stick with your game, but obviously things weren't working inside. They weren't hitting their shots outside, and they got in foul trouble. And I've talked about that this season as far as Brimley's bench. Maybe not one of their strengths this year. And they had a couple players. I think Lyons got in foul trouble in the first half. Mason Harris also, I believe he fouled out. And so you shorten that bench for Brimley. That really caused them concerns when they tried to make the comeback.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is, they were only down by 10 points like midway through the third. I mean, that's only 5 possessions. But in the Bays' heads, they're used to always 23-0. They're used to always having a jump on everyone, not the one being down by 10 points. So I think that messed with them, their mentality, and didn't really help them, come back from that game. And if they were to just stick to what they were good at, what they know, getting those great passes inside, reading their players, that chemistry that they have that no other team really has right now in the EUP that they have over everyone, they totally, disregarded all that. And that's really what it was. And the Pellston Hornets, amazing job. I mean, hats off to them. Just like you said, Byard, we were very, very impressed with him. But we knew, the Brimley Bays knew going into this, he averages, I even talked to our broadcast engineer, Trent, about this. He averages 30, 40 points a game sometimes, and that's astronomical. I don't know if he's getting recruited. I'm sure he is. There's no doubt in my mind. But it was a great game, but it could have been greater, just like I think for the audience as a whole, not exactly what we expected. But, again, the Pellston Hornets, I do think they were a great team, and they really didn't deserve that win in the end.
Yeah, and Byard would score his 1,000th point in the regional final against Cedarville, and he's a junior. So obviously,
he's only a junior.
He's only a junior, yeah.
Wow.
So he is definitely putting some points on the board. So Brimley ends their season at 23-1. It was fun covering them, and now that time has passed a little bit, almost a week. Yeah, I think those kids are going to be very proud, and they should be very proud of the season they had. Undefeated regular season, first time they've done that since, I believe, the early 90s. They win another district. They win the EUP conference title. And the future, I think, looks good for both the boys and the girls.
It does.
Brimley,
It really does.
They're losing Marcus Harris. They're losing a few other players. But we've seen that JV team over the years. They continue to win. So I think the future is still bright for Brimley Bays basketball.
Oh, I definitely agree with that. I know that you're losing Marcus Harris, Dylan Carrick, Lyons, and Lippanen. But then you have Dayton Parrish.
Yeah.
He's tall. He has nice long arms. He's such a great sixth man, I should say. And then you have Mason Harris still there, who's just
come a long way.
Yeah,
I think Mason Harris in basketball.
He's just such an aggressive player, and like you said, he's always in foul trouble. But the reason why he's in foul trouble is because he contributes so much on the defensive end. If he can just clean up on the defensive end and just be smarter, that's going to go a long way for the Bays next year. And then they have some youth coming in. I believe, what's his name? I can't. He's very tall.
Okay.
I cannot think of it.
He's
at
a
the
tall
top.
guy, probably an underclassman.
He's on the JV team, and he was brought up for the varsity, but I don't think he played. But I can't think of it right now. But he's going to be a great addition because they need that height, because that's something they've been lacking. They're all about 6'1". And Marcus Harris, not that tall either, probably 5'10". But great for the Bays on the boys' side. And then I just wanted to touch on the girls' side. I know they're losing a few seniors, but then they also, they have their starting point guard is Sadie McGuire. She's a freshman. She's kind of like a Mason Harris. She's super aggressive on the defensive end and also on the offensive end, and she's going to be just amazing for the Bays, and she still has 3 seasons left.
Looking at the rest of the boys regional in St. Ignace, Cedarville did win their regional semifinal over Posen on Tuesday, a 53-47 decision. And then the regional final was Pellston again, knocking off Cedarville in this case by the score of 82 to 68 to advance to the quarterfinal tomorrow night against Dollar Bay, who won out west. Blake Cassidy, 37 points for the Hornets, and it was Cassidy who would pass the 1,000-point scoring plateau as the Trojans finish 18-6. Jaron Masuga had 22 points for Cedarville. So Pellston taking on Dollar Bay tomorrow night in Escanaba. The winner of that one likely will take on defending state champ Southfield Christian. They are taking on Genesee Christian. Lots of praying going on in that game, apparently, at the Breslin Center on Thursday. And the only other UP team that is still alive in boys high school basketball, Iron Mountain in Division III, 25-0, as they will take on Sanford Meridian tomorrow night in Petoskey. Katie, let's talk about the girls. The girls were in districts last week, a little different than we've seen over the past few years, with the boys usually going second. This year, due to some scheduling conflicts, the girls went second. There are two EUP basketball teams that are playing in the regionals. As a matter of fact, they're playing tonight down in Pellston. And while no surprise, St. Ignace, their 11th straight district crown, I'm shocked that they didn't win a district 12 years ago. I'm still got to look that one up, as they defeated the Pickford Panthers by the score of 84-41. Emily Koivu, she scored 22 points for the Saints, while Allie Schultz and Emma Felpula scored 11 each for the Saints, who also defeated Detour and Cedarville, as they are now 23-0 on the season. And they are taking on Hillman down in Pellston as we speak in the regional semifinal in Division 4. And the other semifinal sees Newberry taking on Mackinac City. Now, Katie, you were in Engadine on Friday night, Newberry in Brimley, in the district final down there, I guess would be from this direction. And it was a slugfest. Newberry with a 34-33 win over Brimley, who ends their season at 12-8. Your thoughts on that game? Newberry got a lead. Brimley chipped back, but they just ran out of time.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. But, to sum up the game as a whole, you see that it's a very low-scoring game, first of all. And the first quarter, I think each team maybe scored 8 points apiece. I would say it is a mixture of great defense because, they're both really going at it, but also just turnovers, and they couldn't get second chance points. I think, it's just the jitters. It's the district final. These two teams, they've met each other before. I mean, they play each other 2 times in regular season play, and they both know that this is a great matchup right here. So with that, and then also, the final score, 34-33, the Brimley Bays, they were down by as much as 10 points, I believe, and with 5 minutes to go. And like you said, they just battled back, and I'm really proud of them because, you could tell that they were about to hang their heads, but then a little spark came out of them, and it just time ran out. After once that 2-minute mark happens, you can't stop the clock. And if they were to have that clock stop, they probably would have gotten another chance. But, that's just how it works.
That's how it works. And again, the regional semifinals in Division 4 going on in Pellston, St. Ignace, and Hillman, Newberry, and Mackinac City. And you would expect, I am a betting man, not on high school sports or anything local, but I would be absolutely shocked if St. Ignace doesn't come out of that regional into the quarterfinal, which would be next week in Marquette. And then you look at some of the other teams. You have Baraga, Munising, Ewan, Trout Creek, and Stevenson. I mean, I would be shocked to see St. Ignace not win this whole thing. I mean, this is one of the best teams I hear. I haven't seen them much, but and when you say this is one of the best St. Ignace girls basketball teams,
that's hard to believe because they've had so many great teams.
They really have, but they're in Division 4, so they're playing Class D. And no offense to Class D schools, but it is a little easier path to a state title than Division 3. Would you be shocked if St. Ignace drops any games and doesn't win a state title?
Definitely shocked. I mean, they will definitely be in the top 2. And I just can't see anyone beating them at this point. I really can't. I mean, I think we covered the one Brimley game, and that was a big deficit. The Bays, I think they beat them by about 60 points, and they're just all around amazing. They have, I forget her name, but she's
Emily Koivu.
It might be her. She's tall. Yeah. She's super athletic. They're all athletic, and they're just all around players.
And the water's the same down there, so it's not like they're getting these super athletes recruiting across the country like some of these private high schools, and especially in hockey. These are all St. Ignace girls.
It's just a great program, great coaching staff, and that's just how it's always been, and there's no other way around it.
Yeah, absolutely. So good luck to St. Ignace and Newberry in their games tonight. Moving on to high school hockey. Well, the Sioux High Blue Devils season ended a while ago. They would lose to Alpena in their only playoff game to end the season at 5-18-2. And Alpena, the team that was getting to the quarterfinals in Division III, they were knocked out by Houghton here last weekend. And the Houghton Gremlins made it all the way to the state final on Saturday down in Plymouth, and they would fall to Detroit Country Day by the score of 4-1 as Detroit Country Day wins back-to-back state titles in Division III. In Division II, Heartland shut out Trenton by the score of 4-0, and then in Division I, Detroit Catholic Central over Saginaw Heritage, by the score of 3-1. We're going to take our first break here at the Wicked Sister. Again, come on down and join us for the live broadcast. Always have a good meal, good times. They'll treat you like family, whether you like it or not.
That's what their commercial says.
That's what their commercial says indeed. We're going to take a break and be back with more of the game here on Eagle 95.1. Scott Nason, Katie Wollan, back at the Wicked Sister on this. Is it still snowing out, Katie?
It is. It's a little flurry-ish.
On this flurry-ish, snowy Monday in the Twin Saults. Only 9 days until spring. Can you believe it? Can you wait for spring?
It's not. You think, when the day hits that everything would just be gone, but it doesn't work like that.
It has been a very long winter in the Twin Saults, but a good place to warm up and enjoy yourself is the Wicked Sister here. New menu. I don't know if you had any of these new menu items,
Kathy
Katie.
did mention it, but no, I haven't had a chance to taste it.
I sampled some there late last week when I was starting to feel better, and come on down, check out their new menu, and always a great bevy of beverages available here at the Wicked Sister. We're going to be talking Laker hockey coming up with one of their assistant coaches around 6:30 here later on tonight. But Katie, we got a few other sports to cover, so let's do that right now. Laker men's basketball, their season ended last Tuesday at Wisconsin Parkside as they were defeated by Wisconsin Parkside by the score of 75-68. Rogstein, he had 22 points on the night as the Laker men end their season at 15-12. Maybe not where they wanted to end, but they have a lot coming back next year. We saw the women's team get more victories, so I think the future of Laker basketball is still looking pretty good.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like you said, they do have some youth. They still have, their two leading scorers are Raj Stein and Malik Adams, and Raj is only a sophomore, whereas Malik's a junior, so he'll be a senior next year. But they are gonna, I wouldn't say be hurting, but they did lose a good senior class in terms of captains and just overall leadership. But don't count the Lakers out. They'll be coming back stronger. Especially with Coach Steve Hedinga's philosophy. We know that as a community.
Yeah, and Malik Adams and Rog Stein, they were named to the 2019 All-GLIAC men's basketball teams, which were announced last week. And so the Lakers do have a lot of talent, and they will lose. Of course, you always lose talent when you have seniors that have played on your squad for a few years. And so Lakers will be back. Speaking of the GLIAC playoffs, the men's competition was won by Grand Valley State yesterday, the 7 seed, as they knocked off Davenport. So they are in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What was the score of that?
80-70. So Grand Valley was one of those teams I thought going into the playoffs I would not want to play them because they were I wouldn't say coasted, but they didn't play their best basketball during the regular season. But it was a team that got better and better. And, they're going to the NCAA men's tournament and looking at the GLIAC teams. Just 2 teams for the men. Grand Valley State, they are the 8th seed in the Midwest, and they'll take on the host Lewis squad in a quarterfinal. And Ashland, they got knocked out in the first round by Grand Valley. They are the 5 seed. They'll take on Southern Indiana. The women's team, the competition, I should say, was won by Ashland.
Of course.
As they defeated Northern Michigan by the score of 65-58 to advance the women's tourney. And 3 teams in the GLIAC make the women's in the Midwest region, hosting Drury, who is 31-0. And you'll have Grand Valley actually got the highest seed. They are the 3 seed. They'll take on Truman. I don't know if that's Harry S. Truman, but maybe it is Truman. I don't know. I don't think he's coaching. He's a former president there.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
Sure, you followed me there. Didn't know where I was going, to be quite honest.
I was actually, distracted by a poster, but yes, I was listening too.
Then Ashland will take on Northern Michigan, so the 2 teams meet in the GLIAC championship, and they're going to meet again in the NCAA tournament. So good luck to all the GLIAC teams. And, well, we've had a women's national champion 2 years ago. We had a men's national champion last year at Ferris. See if the GLIAC continues to do that. It's one of the best conferences in Division II, no doubt about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to find out the results here in the next couple weeks.
We're going to talk more Laker hockey coming up in our next segment. Lots to discuss there. Let's talk about the Sioux Greyhounds. They were in action yesterday at the Memorial Gardens and fell in overtime by the score of 4-3 to the Windsor Spitfires. Keegan Howdeshell scored a pair of goals for the Hounds, his 45th and 46th of the season. That's a lot of goals, Katie.
Oh.
Zach Trott, he scored the other goal for the Hounds. The Hounds lost last Wednesday at Sudbury and topped Sarnia by the score of 6-1, and they just have 3 regular season games left. And right now, looks like they could be the 3 seed in the West if the playoffs started today. They are currently 3 points behind Saginaw, and the Spirit do have a game in hand. Now the Hounds, they're going to have a chance possibly to get first place, but they're going to have to run the table. The Hounds will take on first place Saginaw on the road Thursday before ending the regular season at home next weekend against the best in the West, London on Friday, and Saginaw on Sunday afternoon. So the West right now, London 1. You also have Saginaw at 2. Hounds would be the 3 seed, so we'll see what happens. We'll know this time next week who is matching up against who, or whom is matching up against whom, whatever the English is on that one. Sioux Eagles and Sioux Thunderbirds, they're going to open up their playoffs this week in the NOJHL. The Eagles, who finished 3rd in the West, they're going to take on second place Rayside Balfour in a best-of-7 Western semifinal starting Friday night in Chelmsford. That's the greater Sudbury area. Game 2, that will be on Sunday, also at Rayside, before the series shifts to Puller Stadium next Thursday, March 21st, and Friday, March 22nd in games 3 and 4. Now, the Thunderbirds, they know who their opponent will be in their semifinal matchup, best-of-7, as Blind River won that play-in series, best 2 out of 3, as they easily knocked out Elliott Lake in 2 games. So the Thunderbirds and Beavers, games 1 and 2 will be at the John Rhodes Community Center this Saturday and Sunday. Games 3 and 4 will be in Blind River next Tuesday and next Friday, March 22nd. So those are your Western Conference matchups. Out east, Timmins, they knocked out defending champion and Dudley Hewitt Cup host Cochrane, the Cochrane Crunch, in the first round this past weekend. So Cochrane, they're going to get a long extended time off, I guess, before they host the Dudley Hewitt Cup in late April. Timmins, they'll take on Hearst, the first place team in the semifinal. That should start this weekend. The other semifinal sees Kirkland Lake facing Powassan. That one will start on Friday night in Kirkland Lake. And one other note, Katie, we talked about Brimley Bay's basketball and our coverage, as well as Sioux High Blue Devil hockey. And I want to take this time to thank all the sponsors that made that possible. Katie, I know you're a big part of the sales staff at Eagle 95.1, and without sponsors of this show like the Wicked Sister and Brimley Bay's basketball, along with Sioux High Blue Devil hockey, we wouldn't be able to cover some of the games. So I wanted to take this time to thank them, and especially you deal with sponsors every day. It's not an easy thing to do, to go into a business and sell, radio broadcasting, because there's a lot of other options right there, but we had a lot of sponsors and we thank them.
Oh, we are very thankful for all of them. I mean, I think about it every day, and I mean, and also just a side note, just to add on to that, I mean, we've been increasing them per year. And then that just makes us feel good that we're doing a good job on our broadcast, that they want to chime in. But again, it wouldn't be for them, so thank you to everyone that signs up and wants to be a part of our sports broadcast, because it's awesome. It really is.
Sign up next year.
Yeah.
We'll be back.
Yeah. So if you're listening in and if you want to be in on it, we will for sure be most likely doing the Brimley Sports again. And then, of course, Sioux High Hockey. We cover every single Sioux High hockey game.
And Kathy from the Wicked Sister just chimed in, wanted me to mention here that it's St. Patrick's Day on Sunday, a little odd day to have St. Patrick's Day, but the Wicked Sister is having a boiled dinner on Sunday, corned beef, potatoes, cabbage, and carrots all day from 12 until 9 p.m. And coming up on Thursday, April 4th, hopefully we'll get rid of a lot of the snow by then, the Wicked Sister is going to have their Founders Tap Takeover. They will have KBS while it lasts, along with 6 other Founders beer and some really good ones. Kegs will be tapped from 11 a.m., and Joe from Founders will be joining the Wicked Sister around 5. And the Wicked Sister was recognized by the Chamber of Commerce as the the business of the year, one of the businesses of the year. I can't say philanthropic. I guess I just said it there, Katie.
Oh yeah, you did say it. I mean, when you weren't trying, it actually came out. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But good job, Wicked Sister. No surprise right there from Kathy.
Very good, very good. Katie, we're going to give you a little bit of a break here as well. You can enjoy some of the beverages or food here at the Wicked Sister, and you'll rejoin us during the second hour of the roundtable online at thegamesportshow.com. Thanks for coming in and joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me, Scott, as always.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the game. We come back. We did not mention one big playoff series, which happened this weekend. Lake Superior State University Hockey Lakers in action against Bemidji State. We're going to talk about that with one of their coaches coming up on the game here on Eagle 95.1. Scott Nason back at the Wicked Sister on this Monday night. Our broadcast engineer, Trent Raymond, back in the Eagle 95.1 studios. Coming up in our next segment, we'll talk Detroit sports with Butch Davis from Butch on Sports, who'll get us up to date on what's going on in the Metro Detroit sports world. A very busy day going on down there. And we are joined here at the studio by Lake Superior State University assistant hockey coach Jack. Wow, I was all worried about your last name. Now I can't get your first name right. Zack Cisek joining us here at the Wicked Sister. Coach, thanks for coming in on this Monday night.
No, I appreciate you having me on. It's good to talk here.
Well, Coach, let's talk about this weekend. Let's not beat around the bush. It was a big weekend at the Taffy Able Arena. The Lakers hosting a playoff series for the first time, I believe, in 7 years when they took on Alaska back in 2012, and the first time in the WCHA. You were the 4th seed going in, taking on the 5th seed Bemidji State. And, well, tell us about what happened this weekend. A couple, I would say, tough victories. They're all tough in the playoffs, but you sweep Bemidji State. You move on to take on Minnesota State starting this weekend out in Minnesota. Your thoughts on Laker victory times 2?
Yeah, it was a great weekend for us. Like you mentioned a little bit about the attendance there. It was really good for our guys. It had to take a second to look around after we scored the empty netter on Saturday to see everyone standing, and there was a lot of people there. And it was pretty special just to take a second look around. Our guys were really good. They obviously were really excited. Home ice is so important at this time of year. And you know what, the guys were dialed in all week, I would think. It's a special time, and special teams are really good.
Going into this season, Coach, obviously this your first season here at Lake Superior State. Lakers struggled over the past few seasons, finishing 9th last year. You get here, you had a very good senior class, which I think was a big key to the success of this team. But I really think where your season really kind of hit some jet fuel was the Great Lakes Invitational. I know it's not playoffs, but it's a big tournament in college hockey. The Lakers have never won the Great Lakes Invitational. There'd been some adversity as far as, unfortunately, some personal situations with family members, and it was a tough time. Was that a big part of your success in the second half and going into this past weekend, was winning the Great Lakes Invitational?
Absolutely. I think, we swept Fairbanks on the road. As our last 2 regular season games before break, it's not easy to go out to Fairbanks and win 2 games. And then even before the GLI, we had finals and then an exhibition game against the national program that obviously doesn't go towards your record, and it's towards break, but I thought it said a lot about our guys. The national program's beaten a number of really good teams this year. We went in and played very well, winning 7-3. And then, guys were rested, and then the GLI is special. In terms of our coaching staff, we all played in it. I'd never been a part of a championship team before, so that was very special, being able to be a part of that team that was able to win it. But it certainly piggybacked our second half here.
And it's nice to have a banner raised because, you go into the Taffy Able Arena and you see all those banners, and that's something that a lot of college hockey programs don't have. They don't have 5 national championship banners, and, the fan support has grown over the year, and these fans, a lot of these fans have been going to these games for 30, 40 years. I know a lot of them. And, to win a playoff series like that, to ring the bell, I mean, that's got to get everybody pretty excited, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I just wish we had one more weekend of it too. We're obviously hoping that as many people as they can watch this upcoming weekend. We definitely need their support. But it's an exciting time. Guys are in good spirits. We felt like we earned those wins last weekend. Bemidji's an extremely tough team to play against. It was a bit of a chess match both nights.
Yeah, it really was.
We felt like we deserved to win those games, so it was good to come out on top.
A couple Lakers were honored today, as a matter of fact. Coach Nick Kossoff and Colin Sackerman, they were named WCHA Players of the Week. Can't say enough about Kossoff. 17-6-2 this season, save percentage .958, and he really made some big saves. There were times in both games where maybe the Lakers were a bit on their heels, and Kossoff stood tall in net. He's really had a very successstuck season.
Yeah, he certainly came into the season with an idea of how he wanted to finish off his college career, and I think he stuck to that plan pretty well. He's very detailed. There were times where he definitely bailed us out a couple times, and that's what you need in playoffs. Because it's not always going to be pretty in playoffs, but you need your goalie to stand tall back there, which he did.
Zack Cisek joining us here at the Wicked Sister. Laker hockey still going in the WCHA playoffs. They'll be at Minnesota State coming up this week. And talk about the defense, Coach. Colin Sackerman, again, getting named Player of the Week. But I thought your defense really held their ground when they had to all weekend long. I mean, you didn't give up 30, 40 shots each game. Did you think your defense played especially well this weekend?
Yeah, definitely. I think we were really heavy in our own zone. And I think a big part of it was breaking pucks out, which is, I think, a little bit of an underrated part that people don't see all the time is being able to get back to pucks quick and talk and help our transition game out. So I thought our decor had a really good weekend. Helps when our forwards have good back checking habits and their details in our own zone are good as well.
Dio Cuglietta now with 40 points. He's the first Laker to tally 40 points in a season since all the way back in 96-97 when Joe Blasnick and Jason Sessa did it. We know Cuglietta can score, but boy, I mean, I don't know how many people had him scoring 24 goals, which is one of the best in the country. He's been able to do what a Laker really hasn't been able to do over the past few years, is just have that sniper that just scores goals.
Yeah, it's actually as of right now, he's leading the country in total goals for a player. No, he certainly has a knack around the net. I think if you were to go over a lot of his goals from this year, they're not always the prettiest, but he finds a way to get to those hard areas, which is all you can ask for out of one of your top players and also out of a captain.
So now you get the honor of traveling out west to Mankato to take on Minnesota State, the top seed in the WCHA. Coach, what do you do between now and when you set to travel? I would imagine you'll probably leave Wednesday for that one.
Yeah.
What do you do in practice between now and then? Do you watch a lot of film? Are you working on certain things, or do you not want to give that away?
No, it's I think a lot of teams are doing the same thing. Yeah. It's cleaning up a couple of things that we want to clean up on. Obviously, hitting both of our special teams. It's a ton of video. At this time of the year, guys obviously know what we expect of them from our systems. So little adjustments here and there. We certainly want to work hard this week, especially with the travel day in there. Travel day practices are always a little up in the air. So today, tomorrow, and Wednesday are really important.
Game times 8:07 because of Central Time. Game 1 Friday night. Game 2 Saturday if necessary. Game 3 is on Sunday. That one also at night at 8:07. You played Minnesota State 4 times this year, Coach. They had their way with you early in the season here, but then you went out there and you really got a Saturday night victory. I thought was another big road win. Anytime you beat the first place team on the road, what do you need to do, especially to beat Minnesota State this weekend? What has to go right?
Well, I think even our first series at home, we felt like we played really, really well on Saturday night. It was a 2-0 loss. We felt like we controlled play for parts of the game, so we were happy about that. Even we were watching a little bit today of our last series on the road on Friday. Certainly, we gave up too many goals. We had a lot of lot of mistakes, but we also had a lot of puck possession. Well, which is good to build off of, and I think we built off of that on Saturday night. They're obviously going in to their place, handing them their only home loss of the season.
Yeah.
So it's a tough place to play. They're well coached. They skate well. There's a reason why they've been at the top every year.
I would say there was a little pressure, I think, on the Lakers to perform well, being that you worked all season to get home ice advantage, taking on Bemidji. Is the pressure off in this series because everybody's not everybody, but a lot of people are expecting Minnesota State, the first place team. They're at home. They should win. They didn't last year when they were in the same situation. Is the pressure off a little bit?
I don't think so. I don't know if we necessarily had pressure. I think above anything else, it was for our fans who've been very loyal to make sure we put on a good performance in front of them. I think a lot of teams who are still left in whatever conference they're in, they're there for a reason, and they expect to go in there and compete. So I don't think we're any different. Certainly the challenge is going to be high. But in terms of pressure, we want to be playing the following week.
Absolutely. Zack Cisek joining us here at the Wicked Sister. A final question for you, Coach. This being your first year in Sault Ste. Marie, I will say that not every winter is like this one. Many are, but not every winter. What are your thoughts on the weather? But what are your thoughts on your first year here at Lake State? Has it gone well for you personally as far as where you're at in your coaching career, and what are you looking forward to in the future?
Yeah, actually, I got towed out of my own driveway the other day. That was a first. No, but I'm from downstate, so
sure.
It's still not nearly as it's not this, but I'm used to it a little bit.
Right.
I would say. No, this year's it's been great. Obviously, it helps when you're winning games and you're working around people that you really enjoy. I really enjoy working with Damon and Mike. I think we have a great relationship, and the guys we have are just a blast to work with. It's very fun to go to work every day.
Well, it's been fun to watch the Lakers this season, Coach. Assistant Coach Zack Cisek joining us here at the Wicked Sister. Again, the Lakers in action this weekend. The WCHA Semifinals at Minnesota State Friday and Saturday night, 8 o'clock, if necessary on Sunday. Best of luck. Safe travels out to Minnesota, Coach. And, hey, WCHA Championship weekend, Lakers in it. Sounds good to me. What do you think?
I would love to hear that.
Sounds good.
Looking forward to
Zack,
it.
thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and we'll be back with Butch Davis from Butch on Sports coming up next on The Game here on Eagle 95.1. Scott Nason back at the Wicked Sister on this Monday night. Want to thank our guests so far, Katie Wollan, who will join us in hour 2, the online version, which you can find at thegamesportshow.com. Also want to thank LSSU assistant hockey coach Zack Cisek for talking Hockey Lakers as they head to Minnesota in their WCHA semifinals starting on Friday. As I mentioned, we're here at the Wicked Sister. Lots going on, including on Thursday. The Wicked Sister is going to donate to the LSSU Geology Club. They're having a Dine to Donate fundraiser this Thursday from 5 to 10 p.m. 15% of food sales will go towards the club to help offset the cost of their travel on field trips and conferences. They don't have any flyers. Just show up and eat, and you can help the Lake Superior State University Geology Club. We are joined right now by Butch Davis. You can also find on our website, thegamesportshow.com, for his show, Butch on Sports. You can also find him on his podcast page, Simply Butch2. That's too.podomatic.com. Or if you're a Facebook person, give him a like. Give him 2 likes on Facebook if you can. Butch, great to have you on the show. How you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm hanging on in there, Scott. How about yourself?
Hanging on in there. It's been a rough month as far as sickness and surgeries and snow and everything else. So I am very happy to be talking to you, Butch, and to be talking sports. So let's start off, I guess, with what you can tell us about what's going on with the Detroit Lions. I was late to looking at the Detroit sports, and my goodness, it sounds like that they are making some moves, some confirmed, some not confirmed. Butch, can you tell us anything about what the Lions have done today?
Well, we're going to see the new revamped Detroit Lions, as I spoke to you guys a little bit after the season there. This is something that had to be done. I say 10 years ago here, and I spoke on it when we first were doing the show way long time ago and one of the things I've always said is that when you go out here and get a player, they got to be able to want to come here, not come here to take your money, but come here to do a service and do their job. And I think the Lions have caught up with the mess last year of players coming in there and just getting over the hump and making good money and no progress or nothing getting done. And the same old thing is you see here is that, well, this is football and all of that. No, losing is not part of the sanctions there when they come and get you there. So today, the Detroit Lions got right now, from my count of what they have received here, they have gotten 3 players from the New England Patriots there, not by trade, but by free agency right now. Flowers is one of them there that they got a doggone good cornerback, or wherever you want to put the guy as a nickel or whatever it may be, he will play the down for you and do quite nicely. You've heard of Flowers before and what his capabilities are. He is one of the players that Detroit needs, and also the gamesmanship in the locker room that Flowers brings to the table there. He's going to be significant in that point of getting the Lions to do what they have to do. Nevin Lawson is who I'm talking about. He is a new Lion there. Now, the players that have not been confirmed, Flowers is the big catch they're trying to get there. And Flowers is a defensive lineman. You can place him almost anywhere. He's one of about the second best lineman in the business, as far as I'm concerned, in the NFL. He is a free agent. He's going to be coming to the Lions, I do believe. The third one, you heard about him yesterday, and Danny Amendola. He is with the Lions. There's officially a signing there for that young man there. He is a very, very worthy receiver, a very hands-on person. The dropsies is not in his reservoir of playing football. He's a very sure catcher, very sure route catcher, and also a very good manipulator of a route where the route breaks down and the quarterback is able to read him in getting the ball to him. And Danny Amendola is a Detroit Lion now.
Any coincidence, Butch, that all 3 of these guys are Patriots or have played with the Patriots? Obviously, the Bob Quinn connection at least paying off dividends to get former New England players.
Well, from what I'm hearing from guys from New England and also in the Boston, Montreal way of catching on, who catches up with New England a whole heck of a lot is. So these are players right now that are consistent, and they are in love with the right now the head coach Matt Patricia right now, and they're willing to come over here and do whatever they're asked to do in order to make this team better and influence other players to do better. We've had players on our team that they come in the season, they're half injured, they sit out maybe half the season. We know who that particular lineman is. So far, so good. We don't know yet what's going to go on with that particular situation, the story there. But you got to have someone who's going to stick and stay in there and come in there in shape, ready to go to work, and not only show it on the field, but go in the locker room and show them what it takes to come in there every single week, every single minute, every single second, and do a job.
Butch Davis joining us on the game. Butch, since we last chatted a couple weeks ago, the Detroit Pistons have played some very good basketball. They win yesterday afternoon at home, beating Chicago 131-108, their 5th straight victory. They have a big game tonight in Brooklyn to take on the Brooklyn Nets. The Pistons all of a sudden in the 6th spot in the East with a record of 34-31. Brooklyn right on their heels at 35-33. Butch, what's gone right for the Pistons? Obviously, a lot has gone right as of late. What are your thoughts?
Well, again, my thoughts were very simple there. When they started commencing the trades, that's what shook up the whole particular team. I have always thought before that there was nothing wrong with Blake Griffin or the center for the Detroit Pistons. There was nothing wrong with those particular characters there. They had no one to play around them or be consistent around them. The bench was non-existent many times when they would come into the game and put in and chip in their 2 cents to make the team a valuable opponent, which they should have been. You start trading some players around, and I think the biggest scare was when Conley, the Detroit Pistons wanted to get Conley. They were very, very close to getting Conley and getting rid of Jackson there, okay? And Jackson has not, that trade went underground or whatever it may be. It didn't go through, but from that point on, Jackson has been the point guard that the Pistons wanted when they got him out of Oklahoma City. He has not missed a beat. He has came in there, played defense. He has came in and played offense. He has came in there and become a leader on the court and not a clown. And it means a whole heck of a lot when you can lead people on. Kennard was another player that we talked about humongous times on the job that this guy could do if you put him in there to play. Well, now he's getting the time to play, and he's showing his wares there because you get rid of some players there who is not really deserving, or, again, you trade them away, and he's not missing a beat on that there. He's averaging a point total right now of 14 points, but the last 10 games he's played, he's averaged 19 points a game, 5 assists. He has done the things that needed to be done, and he's also showed the team that he can play some defense, too. He can clog up certain positions and whatnot there. He can make it very difficult with his size and effort. He's not a very big person, a strong person, a meaty person, but he does the job of doing things that, most players should be able to do very well, and that's play defense. I mean, if you can't score a ball, you can at least stop a person from scoring. And he's doing both of them right now. And that is a magnificent surprise for the Detroit Pistons and a needed doggone material for the Pistons to be successful.
Butch Davis joining us here on the game at the Wicked Sister on Aspen Street. Butch, Wings yesterday, they go down to Florida and lose by the score of 6-1. They'll be at Montreal on Tuesday. Wings kind of playing out the string. Some people have dubbed the lose for Hughes, the potential number 1 draft pick. Your thoughts on the Wings as they play out the stretch?
Again, the Red Wings we looked at as a team in progress trying to make a way in getting some players out of their farm system, which is in Grand Rapids, come up there and show themselves now, because we probably won't see a huge transformation of that particular team. Not this year, but next year when they're able to maybe empty the load and empty the free agency type of pocket there where they can actually go get some players again who want to be here in Detroit there. Don't be surprised that the Red Wings start emptying out Grand Rapids there. And Giovanni Smith is another player that I'm looking at that needs to come up here in Detroit here and raise some hell and high water there. They need a player like him. They need a player to come out there. Saki, I would say there. He's a very good player, but he doesn't play every single game. They need a player to just come on in there and grind it out, put in them 20 minutes worth of time on the ice there, and do some judgment while they kind of get things together on who's going to be the scorer, who's not going to be the scorer, and give them better opportunity to score. The biggest problem with the Red Wings, as we know right now, is their defense there. And I think if people think they're going to go out there and get this high-rated scorer to score 50 or 60 goals and whatever it may be, that might be a case if they get themselves in that position. But again, right now, the Red Wings need some top-line defensive players. And I think that's where the money's going to go to there, and putting in some defensive players. You got pretty good 2 doggone decent goaltenders there, but when you don't give them protection after the first and second initial shot that they stop, it's downhill from there, and the Red Wings are very guilty of that. If you ever watch them on television or in person, they're not good in clearing out the malt, as we used to call it there, in order for people to do what they have to do in order to get defense going and go down the other end of the doggone ice to try to score, or basically just to stop a grinding type of team in a power play situation. and do some good things about it, where basically their offense was string off their defense. They're still learning there, so I see that coming in the near future. But right now, don't be surprised that they don't empty out Grand Rapids and get some of them kids down here.
Butch, we got about 3 minutes left in hour one. Wanted to talk about college basketball. We'll save that for hour two, as March Madness is already started. Detroit Tigers, they're about 2.5 weeks away from their regular season opener on March 28th. Very early start in Toronto. Tigers winning today in spring training over Minnesota by the score of 3-0. Butch, have you been able to watch much on the Tigers, follow much? What's going on with that team?
No.
Me too. I'm the same way.
No. And do I care? No. Right now, myself, and this is me personally there, I'm not saying about the whole team. Detroit Tigers need to kind of change their way of how they do spring training as a country club type of situation there.
Right.
And they feel safe when the season starts that they're going to be holding their jobs. And then in the middle of May or early June, you're fighting like cats and dogs to kind of figure out who's going to do right and who's going to do wrong. You already know at that point, and you should know at that point when you come out of training camp, who's who and what's what. And right now, I think the Tigers got to be kind of a little hard on the things that they need to do instrumentally to win a game, the bunting, the playing defense, the little things that win your ball game. Stealing a base is another one there. Who's the fastest man on the team? Who's the fastest man on the team that you can put in the lineup tomorrow to put a threat on the field when they get on offense or get on base there to steal a base? Tigers don't have that there. And as long as they don't have it, it's always going to be put the pressure on one Miguel Cabrera, which right now the biggest argument is for him so far so good is how many games he's going to be playing first base. Now, Cabrera wants to play every game at first base. If he has it his way, that's what's going to happen. However, the reality of the situation is if you want to keep a Cabrera fresh and cute and pretty, Cabrera's going to have to maybe be a designated hitter there. And maybe to his liking to keep the longevity of him on the field a lot more there.
Butch Davis joining us on The Game. Again, you can find his show, Butch on Sports, on the podcast page of this show, thegamesportshow.com, or go to his podcast page, Simply Butch 2, that's TOO.podomatic.com. Butch, hang tight. You're going to join us in hour two. We appreciate you joining us on the radio, and we'll talk to you here in a few minutes, my friend.
All righty.
All right, that's going to do it for hour one here at the Wicked Sister. Want to thank Katie Wollan, who will join us in hour two, and our broadcast engineer, Trent Raymond, along with LSSU assistant hockey coach, Zack Cisek, joining us at the Wicked Sister. We will be back next week here at the Wicked Sister, 6 to 7 on the radio, 6 to 8 o'clock online, and stay tuned because hour two coming up online of thegamesportshow.com or thegamesportshow.podbean.com. That's going to do it here on the radio. For those listening on Eagle 95.1, we'll get back to Classic Hits at Random, Eagle 95.1.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
Welcome back to The Game on Eagle 95.1 and online at thegamesportshow.com. Scott Nason along with Katie Wollan back here at the Wicked Sister on this Monday night, March 11th, 2019. We're continuing to be joined by Butch Davis for hour two, kind of an abbreviated edition of hour two, as we are going to hold a sports roundtable, which we do from time to time, me, Katie, and Butch. Want to thank everybody here at the Wicked Sister for making us feel at home. As always, I want to mention one more time some of the things going on at the Wicked Sister this week, including Sunday, St. Patrick's Day. They're having a corned beef, potatoes, cabbage, and carrot dinner all day from noon until 9. Coming up on Thursday, they're having a fundraiser for the LSSU Geology Club. 15% of sales from 5 to 10 will go towards the club to help offset some costs of their travel, field trips, etc. And then coming up on Thursday, April 4th, they will have their Founders Tap Takeover, as they will have KBS while it lasts, along with 6 other Founders beers. Some really good ones, according to Kathy. And kegs will be tapped for 11 a.m. And Joe from Founders will be joining here at 5. So looks like we are set to go. And looks like that we may even have EJ Russell joining us here. So let's try to get him on right now. He just chimed in. So we'll get EJ on here and see what happens here. 1 second, guys. Live radio.
Hola.
EJ, you there, sir?
Yeah, I just got my mic plugged in here. What's up, boys?
Hey.
And girls.
Hey.
Oh, and Katie. Hi, Katie.
All right, EJ, we're already into the round table here, as we'll give you first topic, EJ, since you are joining us from the banana belt of the UP, known as Escanaba, Michigan, where hopefully you don't have 5 feet of snow like we do here. EJ Russell, it's been a while. What do you want to talk about? Butch will give you first crack, and then Katie if she chooses.
Well, I'm quite honored to get right into it here. I mean, this is exciting. This is new. But, hey, glad to be back. Everybody's here, and we'll get right into it. And the big news of the day, everybody knows what I'm into, is NFL. NFL free agency currently going on. We're just outside of the draft. Teams are starting to develop what kind of identity and players that they're looking for the next season. Lions making a lot of big moves today, which I'm sure Butch, you and Scotty touched on earlier. But I just want to get an idea of how you guys feel about the NFL, where things are going with a couple of these free agency moves, and who are the big winners as of right now.
Yeah, Butch, we talked about the Lions, some big signings all around. I'll give you first crack at EJ's topic.
Well, you got a lot of players who want to move on. I'm just reading the note right here. Terrell Suggs of the Ravens wants to move on. Is a lot of players is out there that the Lions can kind of capitalize on. Earl Thomas is another one that I'm looking at that could be a very big need for Detroit Lions if, again, he wants to be here with the Detroit Lions and do the things that he used to do for Seattle there a long time ago. This is a tremendous type of thing. For the next 3 days, it's really going to be a shooting match here on a dartboard here, who you get and who you don't get here. It's going to be kind of very eeky when it comes down to players that are like Bell, for instance, who's going to make it hard on himself for anybody to pick him up. And again, I think the biggest surprise is with a lot of these particular players who are going to be signing, they're not going to get what they want. Those 5 years, 4 years, maybe 3-year contracts for veteran players are not going to be the norm this year here. They might give you one and an option if you're lucky, okay, and see what you're going to do, what you're paid to do, or what you're advertised what you're to do and whatnot. So that's going to be kind of really, really sneaky there in looking at the players that are going to be upcoming as free agents concerned there for a lot of the teams for the NFL. Some of the mainstays that we haven't heard about yet are still out there. We're expecting that those are going to be hush-hush until the actual signing day, which will be Wednesday, I do believe, that they can now tamper with the players and get them to sign on the dotted line. Right now, we're looking for only players who's going to say where I intend to sign, but yet still that does not mean that another player will not approach them and give them a better offer. Again, I don't see those huge offers going to come up to play when it comes down to keeping some players there, unless that player is well proven, wants to stay there, convince the management and staff members that he's going to stay there and be something special for that particular team that he's coming to.
Yeah, Butch, I'll go next. Some of the headlines today. We talked about the Lions, of course, over the weekend. Antonio Brown, in a trade, went to the Oakland Raiders, I believe, for a 3rd and 5th round pick. Le'Veon Bell, potentially, there's some thoughts that he could go out there. You have Nick Foles, according to sources here on ESPN, going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, $88 million, $50 million guaranteed. Landon Collins looks like he may end up in Washington, and there's a lot of moves that apparently are going to be made that have already been made, and really the Lions kind of caught me off guard because I hadn't had a chance to catch much of the national sports to prepare for this show, and all of a sudden, just looking at all these signings, tight end Jesse James, another potential signing that we hadn't mentioned, although that's unconfirmed. So the Lions obviously going for something because they need something because they haven't had a whole lot of anything over the past 60 some odd years. But that's kind of some of the things I'm looking at, EJ. I know you follow this a lot closer than I do as far as NFL free agency. I haven't heard much on your Browns. So you talk to us. Tell us what's your thoughts on your own topic.
Well, Browns have been relatively quiet other than getting Olivier Vernon in from the Giants in a trade. Zeitler involved in that in order to get him to New York and bring Olivier Vernon over to the Browns. So I think that was good. They made a big change in releasing Jamie Collins, who was a linebacker that they got from the Patriots. But the team to me that's making the biggest deal right now and the biggest moves to me is the Detroit Lions. And if you look at what they're doing, Matt Patricia is bringing in guys that he's familiar with from the New England Patriots. And guys like rumored to be Jesse James that work in those kind of systems. These are all guys that know how to work with Matt Patricia, have been on the same team with Matt Patricia. Danny Amendola is a guy that can buy into a philosophy that Matt Patricia may be putting forward if he's coming from that Belichick school of thought. Everybody do their role. And I think that the Lions are making a lot of good moves. I think that the move that nobody's really talking about right now, which is an A+ to me, is the Lions signing quarterback Justin Coleman. Absolutely brilliant move. This is a guy that, and I'm reading the stat line here, allowed just 5.21 yards per attempt on passes that targeted the slot. And I think that that's something that is going to force the ball out wide, and that's going to allow the other corners to do their jobs well. I think that that's an absolutely fantastic signing for the Lions, both in the long term and the short term. So a good move there. Probably my favorite move that they've made that no one's talking about in perspective here. But I think the move that makes the most sense so far to me is Antonio Brown to the Raiders. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's not too much of a shock. Everybody knew Antonio Brown was moving on. That's true. Everybody knew that Pittsburgh was looking to deal AB, and that relationship had splintered and faltered and is no good anymore. But Antonio Brown is the kind of player that Al Davis would have loved. And Al Davis was a guy that believed in the idea of the Oakland Raiders. And when people say the Raiders, you think the black hole, you think tough football, you think guys that are able to stretch the field. Because when Al Davis took over as that team, he was the kind of owner that wanted the team to take the long shot, wanted to be loud in these kind of situations. And I think that Antonio Brown is a player that allows the Raiders to get back to their identity. I wouldn't at all be surprised to see them bring in a Le'Veon Bell, because those are two guys that really need a lot of touches, and they were already used to getting those touches split between the two of them. But they're going to make the majority of your offense if something like that were to happen, being Le'Veon Bell going to the Raiders. But I think that it's a great move. I think it's great for the identity of the Raiders. I think it's Raider Nation couldn't be more excited. And I think he fit. And to me, when I think of the Raiders, I do think of Al Davis. I think that Antonio Brown is a player that Al Davis would love on his team, because he is a big play threat. He is loud. He is, to me, he'll make a great Raider. And I just think that move makes a lot of sense. I don't like that Antonio Brown seemed to have, and this is all rumored, of course, seemed to have blocked that trade to the Buffalo Bills. He's playing in a cold weather city for a while. I don't think that would have not made sense for him to go to a team like Buffalo with a young quarterback that would put a lot of trust in him being a veteran player. So I think Oakland's a great move. Besides that, not a whole lot of splashes in free agency so far. I mean, the Rams re-signed Dante Fowler. I think the other big move to me, and I kind of like this one, is Deshaun Jackson's rumored to be going back to Philadelphia. I think that'll be fun for the Philly fan base, bring the 10 jerseys back out. Spent the majority of his career there in Philadelphia and did a really, really great job for that team, that organization. I think he'll bring some life back into that. Again, another young quarterback stepping in. And that can just be good for him. So I think the NFL free agency is buzzing. I'm really excited to see what teams do. I don't know if I agree with the Jaguars spending so much money on Nick Foles when they could have went out in this draft, maybe traded up for a Kyler Murray, which I don't think would have been the best fit there, but maybe a guy like Dwayne Haskins, who's probably the best prototypical pocket passer in this draft right now. And I do say that with a little bit of bias, being an Ohio State fan, but Dwayne Haskins threw over 50 touchdowns last year, and that boy balled out. So I'm really excited to see what happens with the draft, but I think Nick Foles might have gotten a little more there. I would have liked to have seen a team like the Jaguars maybe even overpay him, but only do like a 2-year deal, bring in one of these guys in the draft, let him know, hey, you're going to sit behind Nick Foles for a year or two, and just let things develop. I think the best thing that the Browns did last year was let Baker Mayfield sit on the bench and learn the game. So that could have been something good for the Jaguars, but they got rumored to be getting, of course, nothing's official till Wednesday, rumored to be getting Nick Foles here. So we'll see how things play out, but a lot of big moves so far, and some of the biggest splash is still yet to come.
Let's continue the roundtable. Scott Nason, Katie Wollan here at the Wicked Sister, EJ Russell, and Butch Davis online. Katie, let's go to you for your topic. Butch will give you first crack at Katie's topic. So, Katie, what's on your mind as far as sports tonight?
Well, my phone lit up earlier today, and it was the power rankings. So that's kind of what I want to talk about right now. The current NBA power rankings are out for this week. Your top 10 in order. I know you guys won't memorize all of them, but I'm just going to give them to you guys real quick. You have the Bucks number 1, of course. Warriors 2, no surprise there. Raptors, Rockets, Nuggets in that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th. Trailblazers 6th. 76ers 7th. Then the Thunder, then the Celtics, then the Spurs. And I just kind of want your honest opinion if you think these weekly power rankings serve some value and are fairly accurate, in the NBA currently with that list I gave you. And then I just kind of want you to tell me which professional sport, whether it be the WWE, MLB, NFL, if their weekly power rankings have more correctness by the end of their sports season in terms of predictability, if you know what I'm talking about.
Wow, Katie Wollan with the topic. Butch, your thoughts on Katie's topic, power rankings. Where do you rank them?
Nowhere. In the gutter. Nowhere in the gutter, and then especially the NBA, because the NBA got some problems that they got to really settle up, and I'm going to speak on that right now here. One of the biggest problems with the NBA right now is legitimacy right now here. Not only with the front end people of the owners I should talk about here. We'll use Jenny Buss as an example and use the Los Angeles Lakers as a huge example here. When you got LeBron James, you're expecting that maybe you'll add on to that and make a plausible or a decent playoff team, which I do believe, in my judgmentation, right now, the Lakers is a good playoff team, but now they had injuries and whatnot, and we get all these reports that they're going to sit out people for the rest of the year, about at least 3 right now. One of the big discussions is LeBron James going to sit out all year. He's refusing not to, and I don't blame him, but when you open your big mouth and try to want to be a coach or general manager and say, well, yeah, they need to go out there and get Anthony Davis, which we already know that particular trade went down the toilet. Not mainly because of the Lakers there, but because of the NBA and all the mouthing going around there, that you can influence one player to kind of hijack one team and basically make another team better. And there's nothing finding that will happen and whatnot there. The NBA is coming into a clown show here, and there's going to have to be some rules and regulations, not only during the season, but the off season, who can open their mouth and who they can't open their mouth when it comes down to attracting other players to the Mecca there. The lottery was a good thing for many, many years there, but right now people are ignoring that lottery there per se there, because again, it's nothing guaranteed that you're going to get number one, number two, or so forth, just like the other teams or other leagues have set up when you're a very poor team. The NBA is showing a lot of fans right now that they don't care about the product involved in their house, uh, mainly because they're sitting players. The Anthony Davis thing with the Pelicans is a joke, a travesty per se. It waters down the NBA to a no not one there. Here's a player right now who is somewhat healthy, but you're limiting to when he can and when he cannot play just so you can get a draft pick or try to get something else, because it's 9 times out of 10 after that particular season's over, he's not going to be around with the team because he's reported that he wants to be traded. Now, that's like the Le'Veon Bell situation there. We still have the ownerships to you. We still own the rights to you, or maybe I should say Brown should say, but yet and still, you want everyone to move when you say move. And it does the NBA not a lot of good there. I feel right now those power rankings are just misguided because, again, the better teams that you see out there and playing, I mean, they're not talking about the Nets right now there and some of the talent and those young kids are coming out there every single night working the butt off there. The Milwaukee Bucks there is really getting the praise that, again, they're very much so deserved because, again, their players are coming out every single day and bringing it to the skylines there. And they have the record to prove it there. Now, if they can carry that over to the playoffs and whatnot there, that would be great. That would be something else to see. Maybe the Milwaukee Bucks step on in there. I still say Toronto is going to be the team in the East that they got to beat on up there in order to go to the NBA Finals there. I still say the Warriors is going to be a team that they got to beat up in order to go to the NBA Finals. Although the West is kind of getting a little sneaky-weaky there when it comes down to teams like Oklahoma City doing their job, the Rockets doing their job. But again, there are one-sided teams there versus maybe a Milwaukee or a Portland that has many components in their lineup there to do very well. That's the Pistons' particular go-to right now. They're not only getting the starters to come out there and play reputable basketball for the amount of minutes they're in, but they're getting also those bench players to come out there and do an admirable job of keeping the team in there. Lately here, the Pistons have been maybe down 19, 21 points at one gap. And to come back because your team is grinding out or your bench comes on in there and outscores the other bench 70 points to maybe 30 points or something like that there is absolutely something to behold. So again, those rankings per se is a lot around right now with the NBA that's not being spoke on. It's going to have to be spoke about not only when the season ends and when the playoffs are done, but right now they need to get their stuff together because people are not going to come and see you and they don't have no guarantees on who's going to play.
Butch, I'll basically say I agree with pretty much everything you said there, especially on some of the issues of the NBA, so I'm not going to cover what you just did very well, in my opinion. Going to Katie's comment about the power rankings, about the only sports that I pay attention to rankings is in college because it has so much to do with the outcome of how these teams perform. Obviously, in college football, rankings are very important, especially the playoff rankings, so I take a lot of stock in those, although I think there should be an expanded playoff, but that's a long argument that we can get back to come next fall and winter. College basketball rankings are important as far as polls and seedings, and college hockey, because college hockey, you get 16 teams in, and they are based on rankings and points and who you play and who you're not. As far as professional sports, I don't take any stock in any rankings. I mean, it's good conversation. It's nice to say, hey, we're number one in the power rankings right now, but like Butch said, there's other issues in the NBA. One is defense, where it's not being played at all, and it's you look at, I think it's the 15th anniversary of the Pistons championship team, and the way that team played defense, you don't see anybody playing defense anymore. I mean, you're seeing scores in the 130s, 140s, 160s at times, and again, like Butch said, I'll just stress what he said about the NBA is going to have some issues as far as fans and not seeing players that, are being rested because of this or because of that. Instead, did Michael Jordan ever sit a game? I don't remember him being out of the lineup very much if he was injured at all, but he certainly wasn't out of the lineup because of rest or minutes or whatever that is. So Butch covered it well. I'm not going to say anything more because I agree with him. EJ Russell, your thoughts before we go to Katie for her thoughts.
Well, I'll go to I'll wrap up with NBA so Katie can roll right off of that. But power rankings, I think, as a fan, as a casual fan, power rankings are important because it gives you an idea of where your team rests. Now, am I saying it all, is the power ranking going to determine where you finish the end of the year? Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. But as a fan, and you guys know me, I watch a lot of different stuff. As a casual fan, the power rankings can give you a quick weekly recap in a paragraph or two of how each team's doing. And I think that you can use those as a tool as a fan to know what to watch for in each game. I'm not saying that there's any value in the rankings, but I'll say that I like that they come out every week. It's nice to see, as a fan of a team that hasn't done well for a long time in the Cleveland Browns, it was nice last year getting to watch power rankings, watch Browns climb up out the cellar a little bit. That was exciting as a fan. There's no value there. It doesn't mean anything, but it's something that people do look at, and I would challenge everyone here and say, you've looked at a power rankings every once in a while. Let's not pretend like we don't look at those. So as a fan, I think they're important. I think they give you quick recaps and synopsi. I don't know what the right plural of that is, but I think power rankings are fun, and I think that they're a great read and give you an idea of how any team's playing at that exact moment. Now, as far as the NBA goes, Butch isn't far off, but the one thing that he said that nobody's mentioned tonight, and this is a specific team that he brought up, he mentioned their name, and I'm so glad that he is, the Portland Trail Blazers. I think they're one of the most exciting teams in the NBA that no one's talking about right now, and it's because they're in a small market. They are 7-3 in their last 10 games. Okay, 7-3 in their last 10 games. Now there are some teams in there that are kind of choppy that they lost to, but 7-3 in a big league. I mean, beating teams like the Spurs. They beat the Warriors 129 to 107. They beat the 76ers 130 to 115. And topped the Celtics in what was one of the few defensive games in the NBA, 97-92. There are some big games in there where the Portland Trail Blazers showed up and won that night. So I'm saying keep an eye on them as far as the NBA goes. Rolling into the playoffs, sitting at about the 5 seed right now. I think, let me double check in the Western Conference here. But looking good, and a team that I'm excited to keep my eyes on the rest of the year.
Very good, EJ. Katie, your thoughts on your own topic? Good one. You got a lot of different discussion there. I like it.
I'm really thankful for all of your differentiating opinions on that. Because I kind of went into this not really knowing what to expect from you guys. Because it was kind of a general question, but also it could be formed around the NBA because that was my example that I used. But just me as a fan and as a sports watcher, I guess I'm not really one to look at the power rankings all the time. It's not a weekly. I actually weekly don't look at them. I just happen to look at them today. I just kind of wanted to see, me being a Pistons fan, where they would be ranked, in terms, because, they have won 12 out of their 14 games. And, I'm just kind of going to go over just a few of those games that they played. I mean, I understand that. I guess
that I muted that. My bad.
I mean, I'm a little biased, because I'm a Pistons fan, and I mean that's the truth. But for them to be 14th, I think that's great that they're 14th in the power rankings this week. But or overall, I think that's good for them. But for the week, I'm not happy with number 14, and I'm just going to kind of say why. Like I said, 12 out of 14 of their last games, they beat a top team, being Toronto. I mean, yes, Kawhi Leonard was not there to play, but
he was resting.
Right, and I think that's ridiculous, the rest thing too. But of course, we're not going to get into that. But then, and also other team like Minnesota, it's that's a good game to win, and Denver as well. I mean, Denver's one of the top teams, and that was a huge win, 26-point win indeed, like 129 to 103. That's ridiculous. And at that point, when that was the kind of the start of this 12-14 run, and I think that's what brought the Pistons to this, because when they played Denver, they were 23-29 overall. And as soon as they won that big game, it just kept going up and up and up. I mean, they lost to Boston and San Antonio, 2 big games. I understand where they could maybe be at a standstill for the power ranking. But for the weekly power ranking, I just wasn't too impressed because they went 3-0 for the week. And they've taken on great games. And just overall, they've been, going up higher and higher, peaking almost. And they're not, I mean, I know a lot of people have been commenting that they should be tanking for Zion. And I guess, and the thing is they're doing the complete opposite. And I think they have a great chance to, go against the Pacers in this Eastern Conference. And I'm just really excited. So I kind of wanted to veer my discussion into kind of like my opinion about the power rankings just specifically for this week, that I'm not, very happy with it. But in terms of the top 10, I think that's fairly accurate. But again, I really don't know what's going to happen. At the end of the day, we don't know. We can only predict. And I guess that's where I'd like to end on that, Scott.
There you go. Let's keep the round table going. Butch, your turn for a topic. Anything you want to talk about on tonight's round table?
Well, being that Katie had the best round table in town here right now in several weeks, whatever it may be.
It was a good one, wasn't it?
Let's continue on with that particular there, because there is some doggone bites that you can get in there. And then she made some very good points there. Yes, let's use the Pistons as an example on a power ranking there. The way they're winning right now, that you would figure they would be in the top 10 as far as winning versus all the other teams right now in the league that are losing or just doing half past the monkey and quarter to, you fill in the blank. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like today that Zion Williams is the ACC Player of the Year. Here's a guy who, was great until he fell on his rear end and his shoe tore up and whatever it may be. But, how can you justify this guy being the Player of the Year when Randall coming off the cycle there has been good all year long? Really the leader, the quiet leader, I would say there. But getting still just no publicity at all. Although he is ranked in that top slot when it comes down to the players they picked in that league for the top brass of that particular. But you just can't lose. You look at the rankings and you say, is this legit? Portland, yes, another example of why is this so legit here? And what have the aficionados of the league who gives all these little stinky reports and yet still don't justify them by really looking at the whole body of work that these particular teams are doing there. It really doesn't can it to a point where people's honesty, and we're all fans, okay? We're all fans, and I'll be the first to say I'm a Piston fan, I'm a Red Wing fan, I'm a Lion and a Tiger fan. But again, when those teams are doing well because they're not fitting into the playoff, every week you got to see the Golden State Warriors, or every week you got to see the Oklahoma Thunder or the Lakers, who are not doing well at all, but yet and still you're part of your prime package when you put them on national television. It really kind of it irks the crap out of me. No one says anything about Carolina down there and the job Kemba Walker is doing for that particular team. We're not talking about that. And those kind of conversations I want to hear included in this mix on how you find top-ranking teams there. Because, again, it doesn't well when it comes down to people watching the game honestly. And we're, as aficionados who watch the game a little bit more religiously, a little bit more closer, being a reporter, being a person who works within the system of the teams or whatever it may be, or does something there. So these certain items are not brought up into play. So again, we got to stop kind of dissing the fan there. I said this long time ago, and I shouldn't be saying it, but I'm going to say this. When they legalize gambling, okay, in Las Vegas and in some parts of the country, being part of the norm of why the game should be in it, and then you will always find out that those particular stations or shows will say, always use the point spread as a means of winning and losing. Why should that matter? Okay, wins and losses is the thing you look at. If it's 1 point or 1,000 points there, and again, we take the legitimacy out of watching the game, and it's pure, honestly, core, and making it something that it's not. And you're going to lose fans. You're not going to gain fans with it.
Let's continue the basketball talk, Butch. I'd like to kind of shift gears a little bit and talk about NCAA basketball. March Madness already really upon us. Some of the smaller tournament schools are playing into the big dance. Happened to watch a team yesterday, I believe Garner Webb. Not even sure who they are, but they're in the NCAA tournament. First time ever. I love this time of year. And, of course, March Madness, the first 4 days of the NCAA basketball tournament, always some of my best in sports. But I also like these next few days because I love watching the smaller conference tournaments and teams that can be 11-16 or 11-18 have a chance to make it to the big dance, or like Garner Webb yesterday, a team that went into the opposition that I believe was Radford. They played a team that made the tournament last year, and they beat them there, and they beat Campbell the night before at their place. And so I just wanted your thoughts on March Madness. Brackets will be out. We'll be talking about brackets, I'm sure, next week here at the Wicked Sister. But the two things, what are you looking forward to as far as March Madness, and who is the favorite? I think it's very hard to determine who the favorite is right now. Gonzaga is the number one team in the country. You have Virginia 2, North Carolina 3, Kentucky 4, Duke 5, Michigan State 6. Fresh off their victory again over Michigan. Tennessee Tech 7, Tennessee 8, LSU 9, and Michigan 10. So EJ, will go to you first, and then Katie, and then Butch. March Madness, it's upon us. What are your thoughts?
Well, I would like to start off by saying Gonzaga will always and forever get the first 2 rounds on my bracket every year. So Gonzaga is going to at least the Sweet 16 this year, so I'll say that right now. But I'm very excited about NCAA March Madness. It's my favorite time of year as far as college basketball goes. And Scott, for the same reason as you, the first 4 days is the best. And it's going to be an absolute blast. It's going to go. I mean, it's going to be crazy. A 2 seed's going to lose. I'm telling you, a 2 seed like a North Carolina or something, or they're probably going to get a 1 seed. A 2 seed like LSU or Tennessee, one of them's going to lose in the first round. Something crazy is going to happen, and you know that, and you can feel that this is that kind of year in college basketball. I'd say the team for me, if I had to pick one that could win it all in the top 10, I'm going to go with Gonzaga. I think it's their time. I think that they're starting to peak at the right time of the year. They had some adversity early in the year, losing some close games. I think that you'll see Duke as a 2 or 3 seed in this tournament. I think Michigan State, though, has the talent to win the tournament, but I just don't see them getting that done. I think that that's a very difficult road in front of them. But a team that I'm really excited to watch in this tournament is Virginia Tech. And I've been watching them closely because of our friend Paul Van Wagner, who works for whatever network in Blacksburg, Virginia there. I've been watching Virginia Tech very close this year, and I've seen a lot of their games on TV. And I think that they're a team that interests me. I think that they have potential to make a run at the Final Four if they play right in the right games and get the right matchups. I mean, it really can happen for them. They've been playing some pretty exceptional basketball all year long. I think they'll struggle if they face the 1s or the 2s of the tournament. You know, the Dukes, the North Carolinas, the Michigan States, the UVAs. I think that they might have a hard time against one of them. But if one of them falters early, then who do they get? I think Virginia Tech, for me, is the team to keep an eye on, not just because I've been watching them closely because of Paul, but because of Paul, I've been watching them more closely, and they're playing great basketball right now.
Katie, last year a 16-1 in the University of Maryland Baltimore County Golden Retrievers, or Retrievers, but I have a Golden Retriever, as you know, so I like that squad. What's your thoughts on March Madness upon
March
us?
Madness, I know we all know that I don't really keep up on college sports, and that's just because of the hectic schedule. But then I say to myself, why don't I keep up on it when, they're going into the NBA? But that's just like my thing. And then you guys have such a busy schedule. So I need to figure out how I can get more involved. But
start watching. That's all you got to do. Just start watching.
Really, really. And but I guess I'm excited. Well, not just like to fill out my bracket, but just to see what happens. I'm really excited for the upsets, kind of just what you just said. It's always there's always that upset that you're always looking forward to, like a number one getting knocked off the first round. And
first time
I think that
time.
happened twice last year.
Just one, just a one seed.
Okay,
yeah.
well, what about
First time ever.
Okay, it was the second round.
Yep.
Virginia got knocked off. That's what I'm thinking of. So yeah, I guess that's what I would say. I'm really excited for that, filling out my bracket, comparing it. Hopefully I think we should all, me, Scott, EJ,
Butch,
Dave. And I can't think
I
of
run a
Dave.
pool.
Dave, we should all do one, and then of course get Becky in there as well.
Let's do it.
I think it should be super fun and see what plays out for that.
I like it. Butch, March Madness, fill out your brackets. What's your thoughts?
I'll be in game to do something like that there. I think it's something that we need to go ahead on and do just for the heck of it, just for the fun of it there.
That's right.
Because, we don't mention teams like Delaware State, Murray State, who's getting a lot of press time here lately here, although they were the first to secure a ticket for the March Madness there per se. There, we don't talk about them too much there, and I don't know why we don't. But again, it kind of makes me wonder, because these are the teams that eventually will kind of beat someone in an upset there, and then we say, what did we miss? And they tore up my bracket, and it's no more good anymore. Again, it will be very, very, to my great knowledge, that we kind of wait till the weekend, and next week we find out exactly who's going to be in and who's going to be out there. Because again, some of these teams that we kind of boosting up right now may not get what they want, but hopefully they get in.
Yeah, I'll go next here, Butch. A few teams I'm watching. As far as the favorite, obviously I think Duke, before Zion went down, was the favorite, although they still may get him back, it sounds, and it's still a team you got to watch. But there's a couple that I'm watching that are maybe a little bit under the radar. I had a chance to go to South Carolina for a couple weeks and to see the Southland Conference down there, and Furman, the team that was in the part of South Carolina where I was at, they lost to UNC Greensboro, and they're playing right now in the championship game against Wofford, and Wofford's a team that's just kind of made their way up into the top 20. As a matter of fact, they're number 20, and so even if they lose this game, they'll probably make the tournament due to their ranking and strength of schedule. Watch out for that Wofford team. They are going to upset somebody in the first round, in my opinion. Another team that I'm watching that's in the top 25 is Buffalo. Yes, we're going to the MAC. The Buffalo Braves, 28-3. You always know the MAC is going to be a very dangerous conference. They usually spring an upset here or there. I like Buffalo maybe to make a little bit of a run. Kind of got a team that's laying in the weeds, Villanova. Nobody's talking about them. Defending national champion, struggled earlier in the season. They've got themselves up to number 25. I wouldn't sleep on them. But as far as the favorite, I'm going to answer my own question. But of all the teams that I think have a shot to win the title, I'm just not sold on Virginia again this year. I don't think they're going to lose to a 16 seed. But I don't know. That team, I think, is a little bit snake bit. Carolina seems to be the hot team right now, beating Duke a couple times, but I don't know how good they are to make an extended run. Kentucky, that's the one that's kind of sticking out to me. In the SEC, they're 4 seed. They very well, or 4th ranked team, they very well could be a number 1 seed in the tournament. Do I think a Big Ten team has a chance to make it to the final? I didn't think they did last year, and Michigan did. I don't think Michigan does it this year. I don't think Michigan State does it this year. They possibly will get Nick Ward back, and State is playing very good basketball. They don't have the pressure they did last year, much of it undue, in my opinion, to some of our media outlets that we didn't mention, none here present, I might add. But how about Nevada? Nevada, 28-3. They made a little bit of a run last year. So, hey, you know what? I'm just speculating right now until we get the brackets. We're going to get them printed out. We're going to send them via email, and we are all going to do our brackets. Might even involve my son or sons and anyone else. EJ, you want to do one more thought on college basketball before we wrap up the show and do our thumbs up and thumbs down?
Yeah, and I just want to touch back on the upsets real quick. Who here remembers Florida Gulf Coast? What a great story they were when they were in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you all remember what are their team colors. Everyone knows now, blue and green. Yeah. People didn't know who that school was before the NCAA tournament. And the thing that we're all excited about, which is going to be the upsets, is the reason that we're watching, and we're waiting to see who the next Florida Gulf Coast are. We're waiting to see who the next Retrievers are, right? Who's going to be the next 16 seed to take down a 1? Will we ever see it in our lifetime? Who knows? But that's what's exciting about the NCAA tournament. That's what makes things exciting, and that's why we're all doing this bracket challenge. And I just want to say Gonzaga's going to take the title.
There you go. And we'll get Dave McKeag, who couldn't join us this week due to his work schedule. He's going to be here at the Wicked Sister next week. We hope to have our full entourage and cast of the game. Let's get to our thumbs up and thumbs down. We'll go to you first, Katie, and then Butch, myself, and EJ. So, Katie Wollan, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, or weeks, I guess. It's been a while since we've been here.
Well, I really don't have a thumbs down right now. I mean, I'm all about positivity this week, Scott, but probably next week I for sure will have a thumbs down.
Okay.
But for my thumbs up, it's to the Phoenix Suns because they beat not only the top team in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks, but also the top team in the West, the Golden State Warriors.
On the road yesterday.
And and just a little background, the Suns, they are for sure last place in the Western Conference. They only have 16 total wins. And that's 30 teams. And the Milwaukee Bucks, that's a tongue twister sometimes.
It is.
They're 50-17 overall, and they're the best record in the NBA season so far. And whereas the Golden State Warriors, obviously top 2 right now, but they're 45-21 overall. And I mean, I just wanted to add on to that, like the Suns, not even just like their records and everything, but the Suns are playing like, oh, well, we already lost. We have nothing to lose. They're going in like with that mentality. We've already lost, so let's just take on these big teams. I mean, and just turn the tables here. And I mean, that's what they're doing there. And I think it's helping them, to kind of go in a better mindset for next year, because if you can close out the season with they're 5-5 right now for the last 10 games. So I mean, they're 500 right now, which is pretty good. I mean, they're way below 500. They're probably like a 200 team. So if they can, end like a 500, then they should be able to finish 500. And I know there's going to be, free agents roaming around here and there. They're going to get added to the roster, but that's something the Phoenix Suns need right now. And I mean, Devin Booker just putting on a show, 37 points,
Yeah.
37 points,
Yeah.
almost a triple double. I think it was 37 points. I think 7 assists maybe, and then he had a number of rebounds. So just really happy for the Phoenix Suns.
Very good. Thank you, Katie. Let's go to Butch Davis. Butch, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, sir.
Oh, boy, thumbs down here. Boy, I can say a lot of things, but I think my biggest thumbs down was with the Los Angeles Lakers there and that organization. They need to have a powwow second to none there. I think right now their organization is being trashed. And they need to find some leaders who's supposed to speak and who shouldn't be speaking right now. Nothing against Magic Johnson per se there, but again, sometimes he opens his mouth and kind of leaves a worm in the doggone hole there for the Lakers there. And really, hopefully, they get their stuff together, because that's too good of an organization to see them clown around like they're doing right now and really messing it up there. And I'm with Jeff Van Gundy here. Maybe find a trade for LeBron James or something there, because again, the way they're treating that club is a joke here. Thumbs up. I would say Fastlane would have been a pretty good thumbs up yesterday. It gave me what I expected, a lot of wicked stuff here. And from the beginning to the end, a lot of good doggone matches there, beating up somebody's old man and slapping him around. I kind of enjoyed it here to No Not One. The women's match there, Ronda Rousey just screwed everything up and said I'm going to have it my way. I hit the highway. I can't wait for Raw tonight. They'll probably give her a 99-year suspension or something there. Who cares? But it was very exciting, very likable. A particular show to watch last night. There, I got my woolies off of it there, and there. You got my ups and the downs there.
Very good, Butch. I'll piggyback onto that. I thought Fastlane did a great job last night, and it's really setting up WrestleMania and Raw tonight. WrestleMania less than a month away. Women should be main eventing WrestleMania, and I think they will in what should be an epic WrestleMania. As always, another thumbs up to the Lake Superior State University Laker hockey team winning their first playoff series at home in a while and advancing to the semifinals of the WCHA. And thumbs up to the Pistons and Lions. Pistons for their play as of late, and the Lions making some big moves. So lots of thumbs up. And I'm just going to have one thumbs down to the weather. Enough already with the snow and the wind and the canceled games and the canceled school, which I think is now 10 and counting. Enough already. It's mid-March. Spring is just a week or so away. Can we get some nice weather? It's supposed to rain, Katie, I think, later on this week. But thumbs down to Mother Nature. No offense, lady, but you're killing us this year. EJ Russell, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, sir.
Well, Scotty, I think my thumbs up is right up alongside yours. The Detroit Lions really doing a great job so far in free agency, and something that Lions fans need to continue to watch is Matt Patricia is bringing in guys that were there while he was coaching the Patriots, and he's getting guys that believe in his system, and I think that that's something to keep an eye on. But thumbs up to Lions doing a great job. I also want to say right now I am hearing rumors that Tyrann Mathieu may be headed to the Kansas City Chiefs. There's some traction there. Conversations have started from what I'm hearing. But thumbs down, I agree with Butch, to the Los Angeles Lakers. Not because of the LeBron noise that's happening, but because people are surprised that there's noise happening because of LeBron in LA. Let's not pretend like we didn't know that was going to happen, okay? This is one of the best players of all time, okay? Just past Michael Jordan on the all-time scoring list. This is something that we're going to continue to talk about. Los Angeles, you get none of my sympathy, none of my pity. You knew what you were signing up for when you signed up for LeBron James. You knew he was going to demand some things. You know the kind of player he's been throughout his entire career. And what he expects as far as management goes. You knew what you signed up for. Magic Johnson, you knew what you signed up for. Jeannie Buss, you know what you signed up for. City of Los Angeles, you know what you signed up for when you brought on LeBron James. So you get none of my sympathy there. One thing I want to point out in regards to basketball, and Katie brought this up, that the Bucks are the best team in the NBA. The Warriors are not. Look at the way that the Warriors have been playing lately, and I just want to bring up that earlier in the year, I said when they signed Boogie Cousins, bad things could happen. And I want people to remember that. I'm not saying bad things are going to happen, but that they could. Everywhere he's gone, that team's had a hard time winning. So watch out for the Warriors and keep that story in mind.
Very good. Let's go around the table. Katie, now that basketball season is over, what's on your agenda here over the next weeks?
I'm actually kind of figuring that out as I go, Scott, because, I was approached by the compliance officer at Lake State to maybe coach 5th grade basketball.
Oh, fantastic.
So it's still up in the air. We'll still I still have to figure out actual information on that. Wow. But it's a possibility, so I thought it was a cute gesture and, something I would definitely, probably be willing to do. I've done it in the past when I was a high schooler. Mm-hmm. So, just keeping basketball,
That's great. You'll be a great coach.
Yep.
No doubts. Thanks for joining us here at the Wicked Sister.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
Talk to you next week.
EJ and Butch.
All right. Yo, Butch, what's up in your world? Butch on Sports back on air. What's going on with you this week?
Well, we'll do a couple shows this week, of course, there, but the main thing is getting back in shape here. A hard thing to do here when you have knee replacement surgery and whatnot there. And all who have had this particular, boy, God bless you here. You go through hell in the cell. I think the big thing is now I'll be going into big time training to get some things done and get more mobility in my legs and all there. But I got a good notice from the doctor that I'm ahead of schedule, and which is a good thing. Can't wait to walk again on a regular note.
Butch, heal up. I know it's tough. My dad's going to be going through the same surgery coming up, and I may have you be his phone a friend if he's struggling, because I know it's been tough, but we're glad to have you healing up and looking forward to having you next week here on the Wicked Sister on the game.
Give him my number and whatnot there. The two Butches got to be strong here, man, for that particular day here. I'll make it well.
You got that right. Butch, we'll talk to you next week. Thanks again.
All righty.
All right, and EJ, what's going on with you in Escanaba? I know it's still winter there. What is your week looking like?
Well, I think my week's looking a lot better weather-wise. It's been like 33 degrees all day and sunny, no wind, no snow, stuff's melting. I'm like outside in my shorts in a tiki torch. I'm having some fun, sipping on a Corona here. It's summer, baby. No, but as we gear towards the NCAA tournament and wrapping down the basketball season and NHL season, I start to focus my eyes towards Major League Baseball. A couple of big deals just went out. You got Manny Machado to the Padres 10-year deal, and Bryce Harper on a 13-year, $330 million deal to the Phillies, still leaving room for Mike Trout next year to possibly come home to Philly, a team that he very much cares about. So Major League Baseball is something that I'm excited to be watching. I do want to say one thing in regards to these big contracts. People, you should go look at that Bryce Harper deal year by year. That's a very front-heavy contract and not as bad as it looks. It's not going to put you in a situation like with Miguel Cabrera now getting ready to not play baseball anymore. The Tigers can unload that contract. Go look at that Philly contract for Bryce Harper. It's actually not too bad of a deal. But Major League Baseball coming up. We'll see what happens there. And bracketology coming out Sunday. Let's get her done, boys. And
let's get her done, EJ, and hopefully we can talk to you on Monday. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, that's going to do it here from the Wicked Sister. Want to thank all our contributors and guests, Katie Wollan, along with Butch Davis, EJ Russell, and Zack Cisek, the assistant coach of the Laker hockey team, as well, with our broadcast engineer, Trent Raymond. Again, you can hear this show, Butch's show, Dave McKeag shows, and lots of sports content all on the website, thegamesportshow.com. You can also find the Podbean page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or if you want to find Butch's direct show link, you can go to simplybutch2, that's TOO.podomatic.com. That's going to do it here on this Monday night from the Wicked Sister. We will talk to you next Monday night for another edition of the game here on Eagle 95.1.
See ya!